good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the second session of the first chapter of Hornbill, Portrait of a Lady, written by Khushwant Singh. Now, whatever we had discussed in the first session, it has already been displayed on the slides, and we shall now move further with our lesson. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped. In the previous session, we had seen that the writer's grandmother, along with him, they were being taken to live in the city, where the common sort of a bonding that existed between them, somewhere it was being eloped. And in the village, the writer's grandmother, she used to take him to the school, whereupon in the city, the writer, he used to go in the school bus. And in the village, the writer was taught the religious scriptures by the priest in the village school, whereas in the city he was taught the subjects like English, science, environment, etc., environment, music, etc., that her grandmother, she was not able to understand very well. And according to her, music was something that was associated with the harlots or the beggars, and it was not meant for a classy people like them. So now, because the writer, he has grown older, that's why he was being given the separate room to live. Previously, both his grandmother and the writer, they were sharing the same room in the city also. So the common link of friendship that existed between them, that means the room there where they were living, it was also being broken suddenly. Snapped means break suddenly and completely. My grandmother accepted her seclusion without resignation. Seclusion means what? The state of being private and away from people. So she has taken for granted that she wants to live a life away from the people. And resignation means what? The grandmother accepted a lonely life as she accepted the separation from her grandson without objection. That means when she got separated from from his grandchild, she accepted that separation without having any objection to it. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. Spinning wheel means what? Charkha. It is a household machine with a wheel attached to it for spinning yarn. So the only work that was left out with the grandmother now in the city house was what? She was always engaged in spinning the wheel in this house. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel spinning and reciting prayers. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. So from morning till evening, the only work that the grandmother was doing was spinning the wheel and reciting her prayers, daily prayers. And only in the afternoon hours she used to relax for a while. And when she used to get relaxed, what was the work that was being done by her? She was feeding the sparrows in the courtyard. While she sat in the veranda breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirrupings. Now, veritable bedlam of chirrupings. Bedlam means what here? Confusion. And chirruping means a noise that is being made by the small birds. So, because the birds, they were gathering in a large number over there in the veranda, they were creating a sort of a confusion, and a lot of noise was being made by these birds, that is being termed to as chirrupings. Some came and perched on her legs, others on her shoulders, some even sat on her head. Perched means what? Resting on something. That means sitting. So some used to sit on her legs, others on the shoulders, and some even tried to sit on her head also. That means what? These birds, they were no more having any sort of fear from the grandmother. They had established a sort of friendship bond with the grandmother. She smiled but never shooed them away. It used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. Shooing means what? Here making the animals to go away by making a shooing or shouting. That is being termed to as shooing. So she never shoot the birds, and it was the only happiest half an hour that she used to enjoy during the daytime. When I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, one could never tell. So when the writer he decided to go abroad in order to study further, he thought that his grandmother she would be upset at his decision of going abroad, because at this time he will be away from her for 5 years, and because she was getting older, he was a bit worried whether he will be able to see his grandmother alive when he is going to come after for 5 years. But my grandmother could. She was not even sentimental. She came to leave me at the railway station but did not talk or show any emotion. Now, sentimental means what? The feeling of nostalgia, sadness, or tenderness. That is an emotional feeling. She was not at all getting sentimental, not at all getting emotional. She didn't show any sentiments over there, and she came over there to the railway station in order to drop the writer, but she didn't show any emotion over there. She didn't even cry also. Her lips moved in prayer, her mind was lost in prayer. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. Beads means here, jine motina manka kehvaye ne, that is being termed to as beads. That means a small piece of glass or stone threaded with other to make a necklace. તસબી જે આપણે કહીએ છીએ, તસબીના જે મણકા હોય, that is being termed to as beads. તો her lips they were moving, constantly moving in inaudible prayer, and her fingers they were constantly moving the beads of the rosary that was there in her hand. Silently she kissed my forehead, and when I left I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. Cherished means what? Means beholding something that is very dear. Moist here means wet, and imprint means impression or stamp. So when the grandmother she kissed writer's forehead, so obviously it was a happy moment for him, and the impression of her lips, it had made his skin a bit moist, and he felt as if it was the last sign of physical contact between both of them. Because already it is being said earlier that writer he was having a sort of a fear that when he is going to come after 5 years, whether he will be able to see his grandmother or not. He was a bit uncertain about it, whether he is going to find her alive or not. That was the question that was troubling him. But that was not so. After 5 years I came back home and was met by her at the station. She did not look a day older. She still had no time for words, and while she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayers. So, but it was not like that. Whatever he has thought, it didn't happen like that. After 5 years, when the writer came back home, he again met her at the station, and she was looking the same as he had left her 5 years back. And still also she was engaged in reciting her prayers only, and when she holded her tightly in her arms, he could hear that she was reciting her usual prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows, whom she fed longer, and with frivolous rebukes. Now, frivolous rebukes means what? Here, light-hearted scoldings. That means when the writer came back home after 5 years, so the happiest moment of the day for her was still feeding those sparrows. And she has gone used to with these sparrows to such an extent that she was scolding them also light-heartedly, as if they had become her pets and they were ready to listen to whatever she was telling. So she was light-heartedly even scolding them. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. So, in the evening, a sudden change was being seen in her behavior. She even didn't pray on that day, and rather, she collected the women from the neighborhood and she got an old drum and started the singing of started singing with them. For several hours, she thumped the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum and sang of the homecoming of warriors. Thumped means what? Hitting. Sagging means sinking towards. That means dropping. જે ઢીલું થઈ જાય ને એકદમ તેને સેગિંગ કહેવાય. સ્કિન્સ ઓફ ધ dilapidated means here old. The drum, it was very old, and on that old and sagging drum she was singing what? She was singing the prayer, reciting the homecoming of the warriors, and she was doing it for several hours. We had to persuade her to stop to avoid overstraining. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. So they had to persuade her. Persuade means what? To talk someone into doing something. That means requesting. Persuading here means requesting. And overstraining means what? Overdoing something. So they had to literally request her to stop overstressing herself. Because if she is going to overstress herself, she will be getting ill. And it was the first time in her life that she didn't pray. The next morning she was taken ill. It was a mild fever and the doctor told us that it would go. But my grandmother thought differently. She told us that her end was near. The very next morning she became ill. The doctor was being called, and what did the doctor say? It is a mild fever, it is going to go away. But the grandmother, somewhere she had got the intuition that it was her last day and it was the end of her life, it was very near. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life she had omitted to pray, she was not going to waste any more time talking to us. Omitting here means what? Leave out or exclude something. Now, because she has got the intuition that she is not going to live, she is going to die soon. So what she was telling, since only a few hours before her eyes are going to get closed, she has stopped, she has omitted the prayer. For the very first time in her life, she has omitted her prayer on that day, and she didn't wanted to waste any time with them, and she again started chanting her prayers. We protested, but she ignored our protest. She lay peacefully in bed praying and telling her beads. So they protested. Protest means what? Express an objection against something or someone. So all of the family members, they protested, but she didn't listen to them. Instead, she laid peacefully in the bed and she was constantly doing her prayer work and moving the beads of her rosary. Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. A peaceful pallor spread on her face and we knew that she was dead. So before they could imagine anything, all of a sudden the rosary, it fell down from her hand and she died. A peaceful pallor. Pallor means what? The pale appearance. When the person dies, whole of the body, it becomes pale, stagnant. So her body also had become a dead body, and that peacefulness, it was spread over her face, and they knew that now she was no more, she has died. We lifted her off the bed and, as in customary, laid her on the ground and covered her with a red shroud. After a few hours of mourning, we left her alone to make arrangements for her funeral. So they had lifted the dead body from the bed, and as it is the custom to lay the dead body on the ground, they also laid the dead body on the ground and covered her with a red shroud. Shroud here means coffin. After a few hours of mourning, we left her alone to make arrangements for the funeral. So all of them, they had gathered over there to lament the death of the grandmother. And after that, they had left the dead body over there in the room itself, and all of them, they had gone to make the arrangements for the funeral. In the evening, we went to her room with a crude stretcher to take her to be cremated. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. So in the evening, they went to the room in order to lift the corpse with a crude. Crude here means a roughly made stretcher. જેને ઠાઠડી કહેવાય ને, ગુજરાતીની અંદર આપણે ઠાઠડી કહીએ, બરાબર? તો at that stretcher they went along with the stretcher in her room in order to lift her dead body in that stretcher, so that the arrangements can be made in order to take her to the cremation ground. So still the sun, it was setting, and the heavy blaze of the sun, it had lit in whole of the room, and whole of the room, it had turned into burning fires, as if spreading the golden light. We stopped halfway in the courtyard, all over the veranda and in her room, right up to where she lay, dead and stiff, wrapped in the red shroud. Thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. So when they started going along with the corpse to the cremation ground, whereupon she was supposed to be cremated, they stopped in the courtyard, where they saw hundreds of birds, the sparrows, they had gathered over there, where her dead body was being kept, wrapped in the red shroud. They had scattered over the floor over there, near the veranda. There were no chirrupings. We felt sorry for the birds, and my mother fetched some bread for them. So, in spite of large number of birds that had gathered over there, no chirruping was being made by them. Why? Because they were also lamenting the death of somebody that was very near and dear to them. So the writer and his family, they were feeling sorry about it. And writer's mother, she also brought some bread for them in order to feed these sparrows. She broke it into little crumbs, the way my grandmother used to, and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of the bread. When we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. So she broke the little breadcrumbs, the way the grandmother used to feed them, and she threw them towards the sparrows. But the sparrows didn't take any notice of those breadcrumbs also. Why? Because like the writer and his family, they were also very much sad on the demise of somebody that was very near and dear to them. They were really feeling very sad. And when the dead body of the grandmother, it was carried away to the cremation ground, all those sparrows, they flew away very quietly, without picking up the breadcrumbs that were being given by the writer's mother to them in order to eat. And the next morning, the sweeper had to sweep all the breadcrumbs only to put them into the dustbin. So here our chapter, A Portrait of a Lady, gets over. I hope you have understood the explanation and the summary of whole of the chapter. Now in the next session, we shall discuss about the question answers, the important question answers from this particular chapter. So meet you in the next session. Till then, goodbye and take care.